Hi, in this video I am going to share my vision of the DevOps roadmap for beginners in 2025. DevOps helps teams deliver software faster by combining development and operations. The main tasks in DevOps focus on two key areas: supporting developers and managing infrastructure. For example, a typical DevOps task might be creating cloud infrastructure in AWS and setting up a CI/CD pipeline to deploy an app. DevOps requires a broad range of knowledge. Let's dive into the specific steps. The first item on the list is soft skills. These include communication, collaboration, and personal efficiency, and more. As a DevOps engineer, you'll work with both operations and software development teams. That means you need to express your thoughts clearly and ask the right questions. For example, imagine you are setting up a CI/CD pipeline. You'll need to ask the developer specific questions about the app's build, test, and deployment process. How can you practice soft skills? One simple way is by using ChatGPT. Try typing out your thoughts and ask ChatGPT to make them clearer or shorter if needed. This will help you improve your communication and overall efficiency. Great, let's move on. Let's talk about hard skills. To become a DevOps engineer, you need to know the basics like computer networking and Linux administration. In my opinion, system administrators or network engineers can transition into DevOps more smoothly. They already understand the fundamentals, so they just need to learn new tools and concepts, not start from scratch. So if you don't know the basics yet, start by learning computer networking and Linux administration first. A good way to begin with networking is by reading Cisco books. For example, the CCNA Official Cert Guide, Volume 1 and Volume 2. For some people, it's hard to learn on their own, so taking courses might be the best way. Once you have a handle on networking, it's also important to get comfortable with Linux. One way to learn Linux is by using LPI materials. By the way, I've added links to all the materials mentioned in this video in the description. Besides reading, you should practice a lot. For me, as a former network engineer, I installed Kubuntu as my main operating system at home. That gave me daily hands-on experience with Linux. If you don't want to install Linux as your main OS, you can use virtualization tools like VirtualBox. Also, start practicing automation with Ansible. It's a popular tool for automatically installing programs and running commands on Linux. Okay, let's move on to the next step. One of the main tools in both DevOps and software development is Git. Git is a distributed version control system that tracks versions of files. First, install Git on your PC. Then look up the basic commands online and try running them yourself. Hands-on practice is the best way to get comfortable with Git. If you want to dive deeper into Git concepts, try reading the book Pro Git. It's a great resource and it's available for free online. After learning Git, register on GitLab and GitHub and explore their interfaces. These are popular web platforms used to store, manage, and collaborate on code. A DevOps engineer should be familiar with programming. On my journey, I learned Python. It helps me automate routine tasks, work with APIs, and much more. Its syntax is simple, making it a great starting point for beginners. My main mistake at the beginning was spending too much time on theory without actually practicing. By practicing, I mean writing real programs. I used to just write down code snippets, but I didn't combine them into anything useful for the real world. So please, don't repeat my mistake. Practice as much as you can. Let's continue. You know how to create programs and store them in Git repositories. Now it's time to get familiar with container management tools. Docker is the most popular tool. Docker lets you run applications in isolated environments called containers. Containers are a very convenient way to install and run programs. You just need to install Docker or alternative like Podman on your host machine. No need to install programming libraries or packages, just Docker and the running container. Once you've learned some basic Docker commands, start building your own containers using Dockerfile. Then run a group of containers that work together using Docker Compose. After learning Docker, you'll be ready to build your first CI/CD pipeline. CI/CD stands for Continuous Integration and Continuous Delivery, or Continuous Deployment. Continuous delivery means deployment is done manually. Continuous deployment means everything is deployed automatically without manual steps. Besides CI/CD, DevOps engineers are often responsible for application infrastructure. Applications interact with SQL databases like MySQL and PostgreSQL, as well as NoSQL databases like Redis, MongoDB, and others. For example, you should know how to create and manage backups for each type of database. Of course, to observe your apps and infrastructure and make informed decisions, you need to collect metrics, logs, and sometimes traces. For metrics, you can use tools like Prometheus or Victoria Metrics, along with Grafana, to visualize the data. These tools support a wide range of exporters that collect and expose metrics from different systems. For logging, common solutions include the ELK stack, OpenSearch, and Grafana Loki. Very often, infrastructure runs in the cloud, such as AWS, Azure, or GCP, so you should be familiar with at least one of these cloud platforms. A good DevOps practice is to manage and set up infrastructure using code instead of doing it manually. This approach is called infrastructure as code. Of course, you should store your code in Git. Popular IAC tools include Terraform and Pulumi. Now you're already familiar with containers, but how do you run them across multiple hosts? For example, what happens if one host goes down? Will your app stay online and available? This is where Kubernetes comes in. Kubernetes is an open source container orchestration system. It automates the deployment, scaling, and management of containerized applications. You can watch videos on how to use Kubernetes on my YouTube channel. My videos help you get started with real examples and hands-on practice. Finally, you've come a long way, but this is just the beginning of your journey in DevOps. The next step is to build some pet projects. It's the best way to practice, gain experience, and grow your skills. And of course, it's a great way to show future employers what you are capable of. You are now ready to find your first job. Good luck and enjoy the journey. I hope this video is helpful to you. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. See you next time. Goodbye.